Hello everyone, this is Korosh Erfani and today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. We are in the fourth day of the war between Israel, United States against Iran. It's almost the beginning of the fifth day, and I would like to talk about some developments and build-ups that we have had during these last 24 hours. We had told several times during these last months in my videos and articles that Israel is looking for waging a war that can become a widespread war and endless war. We said that for the United States, maybe it's a little different, but I don't think so, and I am going to explain why. But for Israel, there is no more anything that can be called strategy or goals or something that can be very precise in the standard and conventional meaning of the term. What Israel wants is more and more chaos, right? Because in a chaotic situation, Israel can survive. That's the first purpose of this, if we call that strategy of chaos, strategy of the absence of a strategy. And the second is, through this chaos, it can find the opportunities and use them in its favor, to get a part of land, resources, like what was the case in Gaza for getting more land and also the natural resources in the brink of Gaza. This is what Israel is doing right now with the West Bank, and then later with Lebanon. So the war with Iran was a part of the, we can say, Israeli plan of spreading chaos, but a main portion of that, maybe, at least in the frame of the Middle East, not maybe for the scale of the globe or the world, but for the Middle East, we know that the main piece of the puzzle for Israel was Iran. And that's why, by organizing this attack and by bringing the United States into this war, and now Israel is sure that it can start its plan to really set fire to the Middle East. As you know, it was obvious that once the United States is present in this attack, in this military aggression, Iran will react to the United States and all the American forces in the region. That was the most obvious thing that one could imagine. So it happened. It exactly happened as such, and we knew that unlike what happened during the 12 days war, where there was mainly an Israeli attack, right? So Iran reacted to Israel. But later we saw that with the nuclear facilities being bombed by the United States, Iran tried to react at least to one case, we can say maybe symbolically, in Qatar, to one of the American bases, military bases. But we should know that it was coordinated, it was more spectacle than anything else. Nevertheless, it proved that Iran is ready to attack the different countries in the region for the purpose of reacting to the American aggression. right? So Israel was sure that this time, by bringing the complete armada of the United States, it's going to get something much bigger as the Iranian reaction. And we saw that in the whole region. And right now, one of the objectives of Israel is going to be realized or materialized. What happened is that Iran started to bomb the different American bases in the Arab countries. And we are talking about almost 10, 12 military bases in the different Arab countries, the countries that we call the GCC, or the Persian Gulf Cooperation Council, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, and Bahrain, right? So we know that in general, there are several U.S. military bases in this country, in these countries, maybe something between 8 to 12. Right, because some of them are permanent, others are just in case, but in average there is something between 8 to 12. In some cases, there are the statistics even going to up to 15, for example. All right. So Israel knew that once Americans start to bomb different targets in Iran, Iran will attack all these bases in the Arab countries of the Persian Gulf, which was the case from the day the second day, and now it's for sure something really grave and serious, because according to all the indication, these countries, the Arab countries of GCC and the members of these Persian Gulf Arab countries are ready to react against Iran. And that was the plan for Israel, right? Opening a new front where beside Israel and the United States, now there would be all these countries, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and UAE. And some of these countries are really powerful militarily speaking, and they are able to cause a lot of damages to Iran. So that's why everything is now set in such a way that these countries enter a war, serious war, regional war with Iran. What's interesting to see is that these countries themselves are totally trapped. They are in a trap that had been set by the United States with the control of Israel, because these countries became completely dependent on the United States for almost everything. They are dependent for economy, for finance, for technology, for science, for security, and of course for military, right? And above everything, for their defense, as if you can really make a contract, to give to another country, a foreign country, your national security. This is what they did, all of them, without any exception. Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, they made their security contractual, giving a lot of money to the United States through giving a military bases, a lot of defense system over there, paying for that, and buying a lot of weaponries from the United States. So everything was set so that these countries were 100% depending on the United States' will to be defended or to have some security or not. And they were so intelligent that they didn't calculate the fact that if ever happens that a country is in war with the United States, of course they will target all these countries. It was completely natural, normal, and understandable and predictable, right? But they didn't want to accept that. They didn't want to believe that. They thought that United States is able to defend them really, materially. But now, in 2026, they are seeing that's not the case, that the United States cannot really defend them. The United States cannot even defend themselves, right? Itself, because all these bases right now are under attack. They have been evacuated, they have been hit, they have been damaged, in some cases completely. So, which means that these Arab countries, just because they are very rich, because they have money, they gave this huge, vital, existential responsibility to the United States that is not able to defend itself. They didn't even think about this known fact that the United States is under 100% control of Israel, right? So as soon as Israel wants to do something, the United States is there, completely obedient and follow the orders of the dominant Zionists, right? So that's why all these countries, the Arab countries, they are paying, the price of their naivety. If we can say they were extremely naive, but also the fact that they didn't want really take care of this part of their existence, which is defense. They have all armies, the best weaponries that you can imagine. Let me just give you an idea about how much they spent in the recent year. For example, here I have the statistic of 2024, which tell us that for the Saudi Arabia it was a matter of $80 billion, which is the largest budget in the Middle East and the seventh globally. We are talking about something like 7 to 8% of their GDP, only and only for that. $80 billion, and buying the weaponries that they are not even able to use, right? But they paid for that. United Arab Emirates, $22 billion, huge. Something between 5 to 6% of their GDP, only and only for that. And for other countries, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, and Bahrain, typically it's something between 5 to 10 billion dollars. And mainly, don't forget that they are buying the American, let's say American, European, and Israeli weaponries. Okay? The arms are coming from these 3 points. Israel, you have no idea about how much they are paying to their, former enemy in order to get more and more of the modern arms from Israel, but essentially from the United States and also the European countries. All right. They paid all of this for nothing. Because today, thanks to all these spending, imagine that Saudi Arabia is spending something like $50 to $90 billion per year in the last 10 years to buy more and more. We are talking about something like $600 to $700 billion just for the last 10-15 years by one country, Saudi Arabia. So all these arms and weaponries and equipments are there, with a very small army and unqualified usually, because they don't want to accept the very hard tasks for the foreign people. They have money, they want to have the best life, and now the American soldiers and the American army are not able to defend them, to defend these rich Arab countries. Nevertheless, they are bringing these countries into a war with Iran. Why? Because Iran, in order to defend itself, it has to put pressure on the United States everywhere it can. And as it cannot really reach the United States soil, what it has is to reach them where they are available, right? They are at hand. So this is what Iran is doing. And Israel, thanks to that, and also some operation, we saw that, for example, the Israeli agents tried to bomb the oil facilities of Aramco in Saudi Arabia in order to put it on the shoulders of Iranian and say that they did that, right? And that was a plot. In Qatar and in Saudi Arabia, the agents of Israel were acting so that they can trigger, animosity between these countries and Iran. This is what has been planned, and it's done. And in a few hours, or at most in a few days, we are going to have a front union against Iran, composed of Israel, United States, and all these Arab countries, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Emirates, and so on. So that would be the total chaos in the Persian Gulf. And we know that from the moment Iran is attacked militarily by these countries, for the counterattack, Iran won't limit its operation only to the American bases over there, right? It could be anything, including all the oil facilities. And it's very easy for Iran to attack them. And not only for Iran, but also for the Iran proxies. The Iraqi, the Shiite Iraqi groups can easily bomb, the oil facilities of Kuwait, very easy, because very close, and also other Arab countries in the region, including Saudi Arabia. The Houthi from Yemen can really destroy a great part of all the oil facilities, refineries of Saudi Arabia, for example. So that would be really the favorite scenario of Israel for the region. Having the United States and all the Arab countries against Iran. The objective is to destroy, to obliterate completely Iran in order to disintegrate. So, as we can see, it's very easy for Israel to, put against each other Arabs and the Persian, the Iranians. Israel is very skillful in this matter because It was doing so for 45 years now after the revolution with the Iraq-Iran war, and giving, the weaponries directly or indirectly to both in order to destroy themselves during 8 years. They did that. So the scenario of chaos, is going on and is getting completed by the participation of all the Arab countries in the Israeli war against Iran. Of course, through that, because there is a kind of defense agreement between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Now, with Saudi Arabia entering in war with Iran, Pakistan must also intervene and hit Iran, which will expand the war within Pakistan through the war that it has with Afghanistan, and then through the reaction of Iran, and then the whole region. Of course, India will won't miss the opportunity for a Pakistan that is in kind of conflict in two fronts at least, to start to make military pressure on Pakistan. And the objective, don't forget that, is not only to the total destruction of Iran, but also to destroy Pakistan. This is the objective of Israel. But let me complete this presentation by talking also about a new front. Don't forget that this is the first serious war of the set of wars that we are going to have in 2016, and of course, through this, we are going to have it beyond the Middle East. Israel is also opening a third, I don't know if we can say third or second front against Iran, because they are attacking, let's say remotely, the Iranian territory everywhere, United States and Israel, but through the Arab countries, they are physically opening a front against Iran, with most probably the boots on the ground by the Arab countries. I am talking about the occupation of the Iranian islands in Persian Gulf, and then most probably taking a part of the Iranian territory by all these armies of the Arab countries. We are talking about something between 50,000 to 100,000 soldiers who will be supported by Israel and the United States, talking about the Arab soldiers, right, the Arab country soldiers on the Iranian territory, most probably. Because we saw that the United States cannot really pay the price of casualties, with just a few ones already in the United States. We have a kind of political turmoil, right? And if the political turmoil comes with a very bad, let's say, economic crisis, for example, we are going to have a social uprising here, right? So that's why they cannot pay really more than that for the casualties, because already we know that the real number of the death toll for the American soldiers is much more than what Pentagon is announcing, 5, 6. That's ridiculous. It's a matter of a few hundred casualties, dead and injured. So as Israel and the United States don't want really pay the price for the casualties. They have to hire, the second degree of human beings, which is the Arabs, for example, the Arab soldiers, and another second degree, another under human, at least from their point of view, the supremacists, the white supremacists, the Jewish supremacists, of course, are the Kurds, So that's why they are now trying to open a new front in Kurdistan with the Kurdish people, with the Kurdish political and armed groups. So we must know that when we are talking about the Kurdish people, we are talking about a population of several millions. Here you have a map that can help really to understand how the things are regarding the population and the Kurdish population. As you can see, we are talking about something between 30 to 40 million people, most probably 30 million people across the different countries, but the statistics talk about approximately 30 to 45 even million people. So they are dispatched, as you can see, in 4 countries. In Turkey with 80 million, in Iraq with, in Syria with 2 million, in Iraq with 5 million Kurds, and in Iran with 8 million, and of course 2 million diaspora, the Kurdish diaspora in Europe, essentially in Canada, here and there, and mainly in Germany, in Europe. All right. What Israel wants to do is to transform all this population in a let's say a second category of human being compared to the Jewish, which is the selected people of God itself, right? So here it's a matter of mobilizing a part of the Kurds in order to bring them into this famous Iranian war, right? Because right now we have a war that must be spread out, that must be developed in such a way that we can have the highest level of military chaos in the region, so that Israel can find the opportunities to use to occupy the land, to kill the people, to commit genocide, to vanish the culture, the civilization, to destroy completely any historical monuments, the things like that. So they need mercenaries, and the best mercenaries, according to the Israeli calculation, and this is what they sold to the American, and the American really believed this fact, they are the Kurds, right? Because we know that Trump had a talk with the famous leaders of Iraqi Kurdistan, Barzani and Talibani, which we should know that they are crypto Jews, right? They are Jewish, right? They are Kurdish Jewish, Barzani, essentially. So Israel convinced Trump that we don't need to have casualties among the Israeli or American soldiers. What we can do is to send effectively these mercenaries, from their point of view, of course, to kill the Iranians and to get killed, if necessary. So what they are doing, they are arming these Kurdish groups, let's say Iranian Kurdish groups in the Iraqi Kurdistan, because they are there, they are based there for decades now, and they are trying to bomb anything that belongs to the Iranian military forces in the borders in such a way that these forces, the Kurdish forces, can go without almost any resistance from the Iranian army, Iranian Revolutionary Guard, ICG, nothing, and they can go effectively to occupy part of Iran, and from that moment it would be possible to disintegrate Iran, not only in the west, because we are talking about the western part of Iran, northwest, but from the moment the central power cannot really uphold the territorial integrity of Iran, there would be possible to open other fronts across the country. For example, right now there is a kind of Afghan ISIS. We can talk about that. It's the famous Islamic army of Khorasan, something like that. But these are the Afghan mercenaries under the training and the order and the control of the Mossad or the Israeli IDF trainers over there. We are talking about the northeast of Iran, right? So they are based on Afghanistan, something like 80,000 armed soldiers, and they are ready to come, to the Iranian borders and enter Iran based on the fact that there are many Afghans inside Iran as immigrants, let's say, that are ready to collaborate with them. And they can easily get armed and become, let's say, these Afghan immigrants can become an internal force of those like Taliban or ISIS or whatever they will be called at that time. From the southeast, we are going to have the armed group of Baluch from Pakistani Baluchistan. They will come also with the support of the most probably protection of American army or Israeli army, because right now they can operate almost everywhere on the sky of Iranian territory, right? And that's why it's possible to protect any armed group wherever they want by bombing, for example, the Iranian governmental forces, Iranian army, right? So can you imagine that the Kurds are getting involved in something that had been set up by Israel, the enemy of any oppressed people, any oppressed nation? And the Kurds say that we are happy because we are oppressed, and the enemy number one of all the oppressed people is, supporting us. Israel is getting our back, providing whatever we need in order to, to get our rights. Can you imagine that they don't have any idea about what happened to the Syrian Kurds over there by, trusting the United States for years, fighting with them, fighting for them against the Syrian government, and finally at the end of the day, when Syria had been invaded completely by Israel, when Israel could put its agent Jolani over there, at the head of the Syrian government, we saw that the Americans left and the Kurdish of Syria being massacred and completely oppressed by the former ISIS and current Syrian governmental army. Can you believe that? And imagine that the Iranian Kurds are not getting any idea, any lessons about how they are going to be really treated as something between Iran, Turkey, Iraq, Israel, the United States, and they have this illusion that they are going to get their historical rights or whatsoever they call that. Can you imagine two fronts? One from west, we can say, all the western borders of Iran, another one from the south with all the Arab countries. And do you think that the Iranian government, under the bombardment of the Israeli army and the American army for days and days, because according to the Americans, they attacked already more than 2,000, between 1,000 to 2,000 points, which means that right now the Iranian army must be in shambles, right? The Iranian military force must be really damaged, because they said that there is no more any navy, for example, Iranian navy or whatsoever, Iranian ships in the Persian Gulf. So this is it. This is the strategy of chaos, spreading such a mayhem, such a chaotic situation where you can completely disintegrate the country. And this is what they want to do. This is what Israel wants to do for Iran. Not giving the least chance for this country to be together, to keep its territorial integrity, the national unity, and survive as Iran, as a nation state. They don't want to give any chance for that. And they are saying it. Israelis are clearly saying what they want to do, and they don't hesitate to show it, to say that, yeah, that's the idea of what we want to do. Let me show you something interesting, because we have from the Jerusalem Post one part of let me read you. So the Jerusalem Post is telling us, forge a Middle East coalition for Iran's partition, dividing Iran, right? Encourage long-term plans for federalized or partitioned Iran. So that's the idea. Disintegration. That's the theory of Bernard Lewis, the famous Zionist, in order to put all the countries, all the nation states of the Middle East in partitioned entity, which means the little always in war entities that are fighting each other, killing each other for the benefit of Israel. And Israel can come and occupy any good territory with the natural resources, with oil, gas, or water, This is what Israel is planning to do, and it brought the United States to execute the order regarding this scenario. On the grounds of what? On the grounds of the greater Israel must be, installed in the Middle East. And don't forget that not only Iran, but after that, there would be the involvement of Turkey in this scenario. Because as soon as the Kurds start really to conquer a very important territory, part of the Iranian territory, linked to the Iraqi Kurdistan. They will become a considerable entity, right? Immediately, United States and Israel can recognize them as a country, as an independent country, in order to provide them whatever they want: the defense, the weaponries, arms, and protection, and so on. So that's why Turkey won't wait for this scenario to be realized, right? Turkey will intervene for sure. There is no doubt about that. And from the moment Turkey wants to stand up against a force that is supported by Israel, by the United States, right? We are going to have the clashes between these three: Turkey, United States, Israel. You remember we said that we are living in the case of the regional war. We said that this is not the war between Iran and Israel, between Iran and the United States. This is a war for the whole region. And you see that just at the beginning of the fifth day, we have already the involvement of almost all the countries in the region. The Arab countries, very soon Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkey, Iraq, and Yemen. So 15 countries will be involved very soon, in a few days, in this war, which was supposed to be a military operation in order to thwart the nuclear activity of the Iranian regime, this facade. Now, the reality is this, what we are talking about. The reality is to create what's necessary for having a regional war, a real all-out war in the Middle East. Now, from the moment we have the involvement of the powerful countries in the Middle East, and I'm talking about Iran, as you see, just waging war against Iran had already, bring about the involvement of almost 10 countries, right? The Arab countries and others, including Israel, United States, and so on. Now imagine this war being extended to Pakistan and also to the Turkey, right? Two other powerful countries in the region. And among the Arabs, we must account for the importance of involvement of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is not Kuwait, is not United Arab Emirates. Now, it's a huge country with a lot of military forces, a lot of importance in the region, and its involvement in a war could mean the involvement of a lot of Muslim countries. So that's why I am pretty sure that through that we are going to have the involvement of Pakistan for supporting Saudi Arabia. On the other hand, Egypt cannot really remain indifferent completely, and other Muslim countries, and you will see that with the emotional and ideological and religious part of this war for the Mecca and its symbolic value, as what is the case for the Jerusalem, you are going to have the involvement of the Muslim world. We are talking about 2 billion people across the world. This is how military adventurism of Zionism can turn into a regional war, and through that a continental war, the whole Asia, and then making somehow involve the North African countries, Egypt, Algeria, Tunis, and Morocco, and also the other countries in the South Asia that are the huge countries, Muslim countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Bangladesh, and so on. That's the Zionist plan. To bring, as many as possible the different countries in this war in such a way that at the end of the day, in a completely destroy part of the world, West Asia, Middle East, or beyond that, they can survive, United States and Israel, in order to take over everything that is really good, really valuable, as natural resources, for example. Can you imagine that a few hours ago, United States start a kind of war in Ecuador, with the shared and cooperative operation with the Ecuadorian government against the terrorist organizations. After Venezuela, while preparing the invasion or the attack against Cuba, now is the turn of Ecuador. That's the idea. That's the idea that I tried to develop in my previous videos, talking about the aggressive policy of the United States. Why? Because the Abrahamic capitalism is in shambles, is in impasse, because Zionism and capitalism both, they know that they are somehow in the verge of collapse, in the verge of implosion. They cannot sit down and wait for the implosion, for the internal, collapse. They have to do something. And what they can do? Can they solve the problem, the structural problem of the system, an anti-human, anti-rational system that they set up for decades, for 2 centuries? Can they do that? No. What they can do is to sink the boat, with themselves. They will sink the ship, for sure. Why? Because they cannot remain anymore. And that's why they don't want to have a world without them. So now imagine, just in the absence of rationality, wisdom, the minimal wisdom necessary by the Arab countries, based on what we talked about, right? Really giving all the major existential responsibility to a country like the United States, which is just a mercenary country for the Zionists, right? So not having this idea that we have to take care of ourselves. We are rich, we have everything, we have money. Now we can make an alliance and we can create a, let's say, Arab NATO, Islamic NATO, or something like that, and defend themselves and improve our relationship with other countries, instead of just falling in the trap of the Abrahamic Accords, for example. We must improve our relations, as Saudi Arabia did with Pakistan. They could have done the same thing with Iran, right? Having the good relations with Iran, which was the case by the intermediary of China between Iran and Saudi Arabia. But as you can see, Israel uses and abuses the naive spirit of these countries and bring them, into its trap. So lack of wisdom among the Arabs, among the Arab countries, lack of wisdom among the Kurds, the Kurdish people, a people who is fighting, who are fighting for their rights for decades, and now they found that the most aggressive, the most oppressive country on earth, Israel, can be the best support to them. A country that make a genocide of a people that are as oppressed as the Kurdish people, in Gaza, in the West Bank, but the Kurdish don't pay attention. Of course, the fate of such a people would be really dark, would be catastrophic. I am pretty sure, because they don't want to see the reality in front of them. They close their eyes to the genocide of almost 800,000 of people in Gaza, and all the atrocities and crimes that are going on right now in the West Bank, and all the bombing of Lebanon. They don't pay attention to anything, and they are very happy that Israel is providing by means of the United States arms, support, information, money, and everything, so that they can disintegrate Iran. And in a completely disintegrated and chaotic Iran, they want to create, I don't know what kind of paradise in the Kurdistan of Iran, or linked to the Kurdistan of Iraq. So based on this map, as you can see, we are going to have not only a war in the Middle East, but through Turkey, we are going to have it immediately extended to Cyprus, to Greece, to Southern Europe, to the East Europe, and with the intervention of Ukraine, because today Zelensky suggested to these Arab countries that we can exchange, we can give you the anti-missile or anti-drone system, and you can give us something else, of course, by the order of Israel. Zelensky, the Zionist, is coming there. So we are going to have the involvement of the Zionist Ukraine now in the Middle East. And can you imagine what is going to happen then in the Eastern Europe, and by the intervention of Russia later, because Russia doesn't want to have the new generation of weaponry in the hands of the Ukrainian, right? So the Russia will attack in order to try once again to see if it can conquer the complete Ukrainian territory, for example. So that's why I said that the regional war will be the introduction and the context for the world war. There is no doubt about that. If you see just today the statement of the Russian government, Chinese government, and also before that North Korea, regarding what's going on in the Middle East, you can see the sensitivity of these three countries, all of them nuclear powers, right, in order to come, to intervene and to do something serious regarding this imperialistic Zionist war against Iran and other countries in the region. So, in conclusion, I would like to emphasize on 3 points. First, the whole thing right now, the war and the expansion of war, is the plan of the Zionist entity, Israel and its global Zionist war network. So the world will be the future of world will be at risk seriously by the Zionists. So that's why the Pakistani defense minister today talked about Israel as the threat for humanity. This is what we said in our programs. Israel is the most serious threat for the whole humanity. The Zionism is the cancer of humanity. Either the humanity can take care of this cancer tumor, or this tumor will kill the whole body of humanity. The second point, the United States doesn't have any independence for making decision for itself, for its interest, or for whatsoever. The United States is just a subjugated entity of Israel. Israel has long time ago took over of the United States, and the whole control of the United States is in the hands of the Zionists. There is no doubt about that, and the Americans are realizing it more and more. If you just listen to the last talk show of Tucker Carlson during more than 1 hour, of monologue, he's explaining how Israel is controlling almost everything in the United States, and that's why it brought his country, United States of America, into this war, and how this war will be destructive and damaging for long-term interests of the United States. And Tucker Carlson said something that we must account for, which was that all of this is to bring down our empire, we can say, our country that I call the American empire. Why? Because this empire cannot be useful anymore. Now, Israel and the Zionists, we are talking about the Zionists that work with 100 million Jews and crypto Jews across the world. They are not 15 million, they are 100 million, don't forget that. But they are crypto Jews. They are hidden Jews, right? Now they have this impression that we took over almost all the important part of the world, right? The whole Western Europe. Can you imagine that? France, Germany, and the United Kingdom are just 3 sub-entity of the Zionist network. 3 big countries of Western Europe, just the subjugated sub-entity of the Zionist network. The whole United States is just one little, more and more valueless for the Zionist network. And with this plan, the whole region, I am talking about the Middle East, will be in the hands and controls of Israel. So from that moment, this is what Tucker Carlson tried to emphasize on, to point to, is Israel doesn't need really anymore the United States. It doesn't have any function. It can even bother Israel for, its expansionist, imperialist, Judaic plans. So that's why we can see the United States as an entity that is over, is a dead walking empire right now. And the third point, that this Zionist adventurism doesn't have any goal than destroying and taking pleasure from destruction of countries, destruction of planet, destruction of nature, destruction of humanity. This is the only pleasure of the Zionists. They are psychopaths, don't forget that. They don't think like you and me. They are fully insane, completely foolish, and they don't take any pleasure from the life but through destruction, killing, genocide, slaughtering the people. So that's why if we want to have any future for ourselves as humanity, we don't have any other option but to be organized in order to stand up. We, the people, the ordinary people, Jewish, no Jewish, Muslim, no Muslim, Christian, no Christian, we have to unite as human beings in order to create a humanist front, a humanist unity that wants to defend itself. We have the responsibility to defend the future of human species if we want to survive. Otherwise, we can be sure that Zionists will vanish, will completely destroy, will completely remove any trace of human beings, human species on this planet. Think about that. Think about what is going on in the Middle East, just in a war that is entering in the 5th day, and just imagine in 10 days, in 15 days, in 2 months, what is going to happen to this planet. Just think about that. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you are going to share your point of view with me in the comments, and also share this video with other people, please. Thank you.